Hello everyone! A few things I would like to preference before we begin. I didn't choose these comments according to any consistent rubric or anything, so I don't mean to offend anyone else who submitted and didn't get featured. It absolutely breaks my heart that I can't do everyone's. Like, seriously, I was in tears because I thought I wouldn't even get 10 comments and then I got 300. So I beg you all to show mercy on me and be comforted with the fact that I definitely read your comment even if I couldn't draw it. Also, I edited the stories for brevity, so I mean no offense to the original creators either. I will link the creators in the description down below. I hope these are to your liking, and I did the best I could while giving it my own special style. On another note, I'm a straight idiot when it comes to D&D canon and pronunciation, so I'm absolutely gonna butcher some of this stuff, so feel free to just roast me in the comments in a kindly manner. When his mountain village was raided by thieves who made off with an important relic from their temple, he soon discovered that they had snuck in through the area where his little sister had been on patrol. Knowing that if it was discovered that she had failed the village so badly, he took the blame for her, claiming they had swapped patrols that morning and was intent on tracking down the thieves himself. He was stripped of his name and exiled, taking up the name Patch. A bit homesick, but keeping his spirits high, Patch set off into the world to find those that had wronged his tribe. On the way, he found himself a bit short of coin, so he joined up with a group of adventurers. However, being a little bit prone to tricks, he kept to himself that he had the gift of silent speech, only choosing to use it with one of his allies, and offering exactly no explanation. When she eventually brought it up, asking if the rest of the group could hear Patch's voice in their heads, they responded with, "No, thank the gods." His lighthearted and kind nature can get him into trouble, such as trusting and befriending a group of demonically corrupt mages, and setting them free on the world because they were tired of being cooped up in the rooms of their research labs. He also may or may not, but definitely is, responsible for accidentally getting himself and the party teleported into the past after befriending a playful fae creature and playing a homesick melody on his flute. So now, the party is trying to figure out how to get out of that particular predicament so that they can return to their own timeline and collect the reward for their current mission, if nothing else. Thalia came from a merchant family that had relocated to a new area when she was very young, hoping to become a prominent business group. After the relocation, her parents, specifically her mother Morana, became infinitely more controlling of her in an attempt to create a lovely family image for the business. Aside from her never being allowed to practice her wild magic, which was a rule even before the move, every action she made in public was dictated by her two-faced mother, so she acted out. Every chance Thalia got to be the insufferable child they treated her as, she took. Of course, her brother, born after the move, didn't understand anything about their strained relationship, being the naive and spoiled child he was. So, oftentimes, he would unintentionally make things worse. Despite that, Thalia never hated him. That feeling was reserved solely for her parents, especially after trying to curry favor with a religious noble by marrying her off. So, she ran. She only considers that she stopped running from them and living for herself when she met her master by chance, several cities away. At the inn, she had walked in like a wet and beaten dog, just wanting rest and food after coming in from a harsh storm. A friendly group offered her some food and drinks after seeing her, and while she had half a mind to ignore them, the free food and drink had her sit with them. There she met the half-elf, Shay Highhill, a roaming former member of a monastery, and avid drinker and storyteller. During her time at the inn, they bonded greatly, and once he set out again to continue his travels, she followed and learned. This continued for 3 years, until he suddenly disappeared without a trace one night. Thalia had never been able to get much of his background out of him, but the way he would dodge questions about it had her believe that it had caught up to him. So now, 3 years later, she's searching for him. Said search has brought her north, far away from her normal stomping grounds, and into contact with her party. Now, with her Deva guide, that has only recently appeared and can only maintain sporadic contact with, she travels with this party. It consists of a dwarf who formerly ran with the dispersed Goliath herd, and a tiefling with connections to Osmodius that her diva wants her to investigate, as they go around and deal with increasing and increasingly aggressive giants in the area. Previously, they've actually had a goofball of a Triton paladin in the group. When he was with them, they had participated in and narrowly managed to win a combative tournament. There, she saw that the party's tiefling did, in fact, have morals, and killing innocent people, even by accident, didn't sit well with him. Because of this, she decided to give him the benefit of the doubt, and will instead confront him about the issue when she has the chance alone with him. Of course, that wasn't the only thing to happen in said tournament. Her party members had finally been given a chance to see what she had meant when she said her magic was chaotic. Let's just say, it ended with a very fluffy rivalry, along with her party being very confused. Atonement had been born Talon du Raffert on the streets of Daggerford, growing up with his brother as they stole and begged their way through life. That all ended during the Spell Plague, when Talon's brother and a ritual gone wrong restarted their fiendish bloodline, transforming them into tieflings. Lamenting his transformation, Atonement joined the Devoted of Tamora, an attempt to repent for being a fiendish fledgling, having brought into the rumors that tieflings are truly devils. He attempts to bring luck and fortune to those around him, all the while desperately searching for a way to return to his humanity. Perhaps that is why he was desperate enough to sign up for a job aboard the Raven's Call, sailing far from his home on a minute hope for answers to his searching. But the Raven's Call was not the place for answers, and as the crew sails desperately away from a large mountain island, a trio of krakens in hot pursuit, the sound of cracking stones sounds out. The relic that a few other members of the crew had looted from the island's ancient temple pulses green in the captain's hands, and a shattering surge of ethereal green energy erupts from the mountain, passing through the crew as the captain and his wife teleport to safety. Atonement breathes sharply as his head erupts in agony, two voices filling his mind as he staggers to his knees aboard the damaged ship, clutching his head and shouting. In his mind, the glass Dwergar and the lean bugbear demand to be released, and as Atonement staggers to the lifeboats with the rest of the crew, he can feel their presence leaking through the cracks of his sanity. The search for his humanity would have to wait. This was a more pressing issue. Revelation was born a drow in the Underdark, where being a drow male is an unfortunate fate. He sought after power and wanted to show all drow that a male could rival a female in drow society. Of course, he was opposed. However, Lolith thought it would be funny to give him a power boost in secret. Thus, he was made a warlock, with a hex blade that could become an umbrella to shield him from the sun. His power grew, and soon more deadly drow wanted his head, so he ran into a portal which teleported him to the campaign's world. He joined a group and was seen as the reckless one. He would charge in head first, wanting to outperform the dwarf barbarian in melee. In their first dungeon, they met a wood elf wizard, who attacked the drow on sight, 'cause he's a drow, need I say more? A fight ensued, where the wizard and the warlock fell to the ground at the same time. The wizard, either out of hatred or simply goodwill, covered the drow in a golden light, which turned him into Revelation, the Sun Elf Paladin of Redemption. In his new life, Revelation has been keeping the party safe. They don't really need his protection. It's usually the other way around, as he's one of the 3 frontline fighters, and one of 2 durable PCs. He tends to get punched in the face often. Revelation also met an orc shaman, who was abandoned by Lolith and ended up becoming close mates with said orc. Now with his friends, he must save a world where magic as we know it is slowly dying. Jack Salinas had a joyful life of running around and spreading the word of his god harder than any other Jehovah Witness nowadays. The scar across his face made him threatening to most who met him for the first time, but as you got to know him, you would realize that he is the kind, giant type. After all, he wants nothing more than to have others be happy. Once upon a time, we were tasked with fighting off the soon-to-be Mind Flayer invasion that would likely destroy the town of Dunpier. They were planning to attack it and turn it into a food farm, and they were planning experiments with the locals. Jack suggested to offer them a proud welcome and a fair duel. The rest of the party agreed belligerently. Later that week, a clan of Mind Flayers, about 50 in total, came down from atop the mountain they had long stayed dormant in. Their leader, Callisto, stepped forward. "What are you doing?" Jack stood up from the chair he had set up in the front of the entrance. "Fight me fair. Grab the sword in front of you and fight me like a man." He agreed. Intelligence save failed. Plan had succeeded. "Say, Callisto, as a normal warrior question, have you ever heard of a, glyph of warding?" About 3 glyphs had revealed themselves to Callisto, and he had failed all 3 of them, along with his surrounding generals, and greatly reducing their numbers to nothing more than a pile of fire and moist body parts. And that was the story of how we got rid of most of the difficult fighting in an army of very dangerous aberrations, and how we also made our DM hate us a lot. Thank you for watching, rats! Also, put this man on blast.